News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome for the national news on Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
I'm Charita Minipurarachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
The President says the present tax policy is a rescue operation to save the economy. The IMF is ready to grant credit facilities. Japan grants a sum of $46 million to Sri Lanka. State Minister Siambala Pitya rejects the allegation of importing new vehicles. The USA comments on the NATO.
And meanwhile, the annual Navam Perahara of the Horana historic Colombo Raja Mahabihari paraded the streets yesterday.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe also participated in the auspicious opening of the Perahara. The President also met the chief incumbent of the temple, Venerable Uduwe Hema Lokothera, and had a mutual discussion. The President focused his attention on the development activities taking place in the temple at present. The President made religious observances at the temple, and Mahasangha invoked blessings upon the President by chanting Seth Pirith. In line with the Perahara ceremony, a 7-day Pirith chanting ceremony has also been organized in the temple. President also invited the Mahasangha to start the Pirith chanting ceremony. The President had a mutual discussion with the students of the Dhamma school of the Ulabadue, Raja Mahabihari.
Two regulations under the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act were passed in Parliament today with the consent of the opposition. Views were expressed in this regard and on the local government polls in the House today. Minister Ali Sabri said that we must not think of petty politics for all matters. The China Harbour Company has already invested 3% of their entire investments. They have agreed for an investment of $1.5 billion to construct finance cities with a Middle East company. Investments are to come from Europe, and arrangements have been signed for European investments, rather Singaporean investments. State Minister Kanaka Herath said that a major challenge in the country at present is brain drain. A large number of professionals in the IT sector have left the country. In such a moment, developing the port city is very much significant. Parliamentarian Kabir Hashim said that the Commission has been given unlimited powers. The companies that are willing to invest in the port city should be provided with tax concessions. They can decide tax relief for about 40 years. 40 years mean about half of a lifespan of an investor. State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that the parliamentarian Kabir Hashim mentioned about 40 years tax relief. There's a false, according to the preliminary agreement, we are bound to give some concessions. They will be deciding in future, but draft will be going to present to the parliament. However, we have to make some revisions within the economic zone throughout the Port City Development Commission. Political parties are organizing public rallies and small meetings targeting the local government elections.
Several such meetings were held yesterday as well. A rally organized by the United National Party to assure the victory of the UNP candidates was held in the Bomiri area in Kaduwela under the patronage of Deputy Leader of the UNP, Ruwan Wijewardena.
දැන් ඉවෙනි කාලේ තමයි දැන් අපි ගත කරන්නේ. මොකද දැන් මේ ආර්ථික තුවාලෙට මේ අරුබුදයට අපේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා දැන් බෙහෙත් ටික දාගෙන යනවා. ඒ බෙහෙත් ටික දාන්නකො තමයි රටේ ජනතාවට මේ දේශනාව දෙන්නේ. සමගි ජන බලවේගයට අනාගත
SJB's Nikavarattiya public meeting was held yesterday under the patronage of party leader Sajith Premadasa.
ජනතාවට දෙන උත්තරේ මොකක්ද? විසඳුම මොකක්ද? විකල්පය මොකක්ද? මිත්‍රවරුනි, අලුත් සංවර්ධන යුගයක් අපි නිර්මාණය කළ යුතු වෙනවා.
Kasbeva electoral meeting of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held at the Kasbeva town hall under the patronage of General Secretary of the Front, Sagara Karyavasam. The meeting has been organised by the parliamentarian Gamni Lakuge. National People's Power organised the rally in Badula yesterday under the patronage of party leader Andra Kumara Disanayaka.
අපේ රටේ ජනතාව හිතුවා බෙදීම නිල් කොළ කියලා. අපේ රටේ ජනතාව හිතුවා බෙදීම රනිල් මහින්ද කියලා. අපේ රටේ ජනතාව හිතුවා බෙදීම
President Ranil Wickremesinghe urges all citizens to unite in the efforts to overcome the economic crisis in Sri Lanka and to promote the reconciliation process. Participating in a ceremony in Royal College, Colombo today, the President requested all politicians, professionals, business community, stakeholders in the agricultural sector and the members of the armed forces and the general public to work together to overcome the current economic crisis. The President asked the young royalists to work hard to build the country again to a developed country in 25 years. Principal of the Royal College, R.M.M. Ratnayaka, delivered the welcome speech.
I am asking those in the business world, those who are doing a small business, those who are carrying on their agriculture, those who are in professions to join us to get over this crisis. I am asking those who are in the military services, police and the public service and the teaching services to join us in getting over the crisis. You should come back. You should fight the odds and go ahead. Because we have two difficult tasks in this country. One is to put the economy into order, other is reconciliation. We can't be divided by race or religion. So let's all get together and for all of you come back, take your place in society and do the best. Today we are a country which has only Afghanistan below us. We don't know what the future is. So when we build this future, it's an economy that must last for 25 years. It must be a new constitution that will last for 100 years. It must be a society not for us. None of us here are going to live for 25 years. It's a country for you all. Most of you here in 25 years, in the first row, I don't think you'll even be 45. And those in the back row, the seniors would be about 50, 55. That is the country you are going to live in. And I want you all to be a part of those who decide what is the country we live in, not for us. That is a challenge you must take. I want you all to take that challenge and decide the future of the country.
Now, the Trade Union Joint Forum staged a protest in front of the Fort railway station against the tax revisions of the government. It has been titled as the Joint Protest Against the Unjustifiable Taxes. Trade unions and professionals organizations have organized this protest campaign. They staged the protest during the lunch hour in line with the black protest they have declared. A number of trade unions representing health, harbour, petroleum and electricity sectors participated. One lane of the main road in front of the Fort railway station was blocked due to the protest. Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the present tax policy is not a usual tax system, but a rescue operation.
If this process is disrupted, Sri Lanka will not be included in the debt restructuring program by the IMF. Sri Lanka will also lose the opportunity to deal with the foreign countries as well. The budget proposals presented for the year 2023 is also an operation to rescue the economy that is on the verge of collapse. The President made these remarks delivering the keynote address of the Tax Summit 2023 held in the Kingsbury Hotel in Colombo yesterday. The President stated that only the Sri Lankan Chamber of Commerce had presented their proposals to the IMF. No other institution, party or an individual had submitted proposals or any alternative to the IMF.
IMF requires the bilateral creditors to support us and to give financial assurances. The general conventional terms were used by the Paris Club members. India issued its own letter of support and financial assurances. That was is acceptable to the IMF and the Paris Club. They also agreed to get onto a common platform to resolve the debt, so India speaking separately and the Paris Club. Then the Chinese have also sent us a letter of support that they will stand with Sri Lanka. The Chinese, of course, didn't want to get onto a common platform. They said, we'll talk to you separately, we'll talk to the IMF and India separately, but we'll all try to help you. The Chinese have a different system from the West in the matter of debt relief. The Chinese, after all, are also trying to build their own international monetary system, a global one. So their system is different. Therefore, there was the Chinese wording and the IMF wording the Paris Club wording did not match. Paris Club wordings are the ones that generally accepted by the IMF. So there are two different types of wordings, and we are talking to see how we can ensure that there is agreement or acceptance by the parties. So far, no one except for the Chamber of Commerce, no one else has discussed the issues with the IMF. The Chamber of Commerce had a 3-hour meeting, a Zoom meeting with the IMF, and they have made their recommendations. I hear some trade union groups also want to talk to the IMF. It's good. I think they should talk. Once the agreement, the board finally gives agreement after discussing with the creditors, then we will table the agreement in Parliament. We can't do that until the board agreement is given, in case they have to make some amendments after discussing with the bilateral creditors. So I will place the agreement in Parliament and will ask the parties to vote on it, whether they accept or reject it. Those who reject must come up with the alternate suggestion, and if they say they can talk to the IMF, certainly go and talk to the IMF. If not, let them come up with the alternate suggestions they have.
Vikramasinghe said, however, India will inform their standards on the Sri Lankan situation at the G20 Finance Ministers meeting to be held in Bangalore tomorrow. This tax summit has been organized by the Sri Lankan Marketing Institute.
The IMF expresses confidence that Sri Lanka will come to an agreement with all credit owners very soon. Chief of the IMF Asia Pacific region, Krishna Srinivasan, says that IMF Executive Board is ready to approve $1 billion credit line to Sri Lanka. Expressing views on the IMF credit process in Sri Lanka, Krishna Srinivasan points out that Sri Lanka is strongly committed to take required measures to end the crisis. Mr. Krishna Srinivasan also said that India and the Paris Club of Creditors have already taken measures to provide a grace period to Sri Lanka to pay back loans. If China provides a credit relief assurance to Sri Lanka, as expected by the IMF, the loan facility will soon be given to Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, China has already provided 2 years grace period to Sri Lanka. A spokesman from the Chinese Foreign Ministry said last week that China is committed to advance forward with the Sri Lanka's credit facility process. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin stated that they will have further discussions with Sri Lanka in this connection. Meanwhile, Indian media say that new G20 economic powers will focus special attention to Sri Lanka's crises and to grant concessions at the G20 meeting to be initiated tomorrow. Accordingly, Sri Lanka and Pakistan will receive IMF credit facilities without delay.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Singh Balapatia stresses that there is no truth in the charge level against the government that 239 new vehicles have been imported for the use of state ministers. He made this comment in reply to an allegation made by an opposition parliamentarian. State Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitiya said that an opposition parliamentarian had said that 239 luxury vehicles have been imported. It is utterly false. A stock of vehicles was imported for the last time in 2021. These vehicles were buses, ambulances and double cabs needed to the Ministry of Wildlife. They were not brought for personal use. The Treasury will never allow to import such vehicles at a time of economic crisis. We never think of such vehicles. We have many priorities as a responsible government.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ වගේ වෙලාවක එවැනි රාජ්‍ය ඇමතුරුන් සඳහා සුකොබ්බෝගී වාහන ගෙනීම සඳහා වූ කතාබහක්වත් යෝජනාවක්වත් සිතවිල්ලක්වත් මහ භාණ්ඩාගාරයට නැහැ. අපිට ඊට වඩා හුඟක් වගකියයුතු වියදම් තියෙන නිසා අපි කිසි විටකත් එවැනි වියදම් පිළිබඳ කල්පනා කරන්නවත් නැහැ. ඒක වගකීමෙන් කියන්න අවශ්‍යයි. මොකද මේක සංසන්දනය කරලා තිබුණා. මැතිවරණයට සල්ලි නැති රජය, තවත් ඒවට සල්ලි නැති රජය මේ වගේ වට වියදම් කරනවා. මේක ඉතාමත්ම අසත්‍ය ප්‍රකාශයක්.
The Customs Department has taken about 3 million illegally imported fags into their custody. State Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitiya today inspected the stock. It is worth about 490 million rupees. The State Minister said that if the illegal stocks of cigarettes were released to the market, the government would lose tax income amounting to 400 million rupees.
The annual anniversary convention of the Association of Professional Bankers was held recently with the participation of Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe as the chief guest of the event. The Association of Professional Bankers is the premier professional body for bankers in Sri Lanka with a membership of over 2,000 bankers, which includes chief executive officers and senior management of banks. The annual anniversary convention has been held for the last 32 years.
And all distinguished in resilient and adaptable way forward to bank, in which we are today as we see banking at different to adapt their ways and their strategies.
The recent macroeconomic developments and adverse business environment have caused a significant impact on banks' key performance indicators. As you all know, the capital and liquidity positions and profitability of the banks are under considerable stress due to these adverse economic conditions of the country. Therefore, it's vital that the banking industry respond to these challenges in a timely and adequate manner in order to prevent any adverse implications and to maintain resilience. The sustainability of the banks depends on how they overcome the prevailing challenges, and the central bank is closely monitoring and implementing proactive measures where necessary to ensure the stability of the banking sector. We know that this is a challenging time for the banking sector. However, as banks are vital facet of the financial system and bear responsibility to support and drive economic growth in the country, the banking sector as a whole need to rise and thrive in these challenging times. Further, we expect that the current challenges faced by the banking sector will ease in the near future with the measures taken by the central bank and the government to improve the macroeconomic conditions. And we see that there are huge prospects for the banks to reap the benefits of the improved and more stable macroeconomic conditions going forward. We are confident that the measures that we have been taking, they will be pretty soon. We are going to see a stability in terms of the program that we are basically so far have been working on, and we hope within very soon we see, for example, unlocking the IMF program. With that, we can ease the foreign exchange situations, liquidity situation in the banking system. Already we have addressed the rupee liquid situations, and with that, there will be a lot of economic activities can come back to the economy. The new bankers, I think, should be get ready and prepare to take the advantage of the recovery this year and the growth from next couple of years going forward.
Now, protecting the environment is an unconditional responsibility for all citizens.
However, there are many individuals who do not achieve their responsibilities properly. Adams Peak is a sacred place where many devotees and local and international tourists annually visit due to the religious and environmental significance. However, some visitors do not think of the value of the sacred area and dispose garbage irresponsibly during their pilgrimage. About 8 metric tons of solid waste have been disposed in the Sri Lanka sacred area during the past 3 months after the pilgrim season started this year. Maskeli Pradesh Sabha is responsible for the cleaning of this area. Secretary to the Pradesh Sabha, Sivaram Rajaveeram, says that it is the responsibility of all tourists who visit the place of World Heritage to protect the environment in the surrounding area. This is the new power generating unit of the garbage disposal yard of the Kaduvela Municipal Council. About 50 metric tons of solid waste is collected daily by the council. Out of that, about 10 metric tons of organic waste are used to generate power in this unit. The generator is about 300 to 400 kilovolts and adds to the national grid. As a byproduct, liquid fertilizer is manufactured at this unit. As a model pilot project, this was constructed by the Kaduvela Municipal Council with the assistance of the UNDP. A sum of 200 million rupees has been spent for the power generation project, and this was declared open by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recently. Mayor of the Kaduvela Municipal Council, Buddhika Jayavilal, and a group of councillors were present at this occasion.
Now, Japan grants $46 million to provide diesel for Sri Lanka's public hospitals. The government of Japan has committed to supplying 20 million litres of diesel through this grant. Mahinda Siriwardena, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, and the Ambassador of Japan, Mizukoshi Hideaki, signed an exchange of notes to secure the humanitarian grant of $46 million. The purpose of the grant is to provide diesel fuel to public hospitals throughout Sri Lanka. The signing ceremony took place at the Presidential Secretariat with President Ranil Wickremesinghe in attendance. Under this agreement, the government of Japan has committed to supplying 20 million litres of diesel. This humanitarian assistance will aid Sri Lanka in providing sustainable medical services amid the current economic crisis.
Bokala Graphite Company has introduced a new chemical that helps to increase and strengthen the rigidity of cement and rubber. The chemical was introduced to the State Minister of Technology, Kanaka Herath, yesterday at the ministry. This chemical is named as Graphene Oxide. The company officials enlightened the minister regarding the researchers and manufactured items used in this new chemical. The Graphene Oxide can be utilized to manufacture value-added products of rubber and plastic industries. The significant feature of this chemical is that it is easily mixed with cement or rubber. It leads to strengthen the rigidity of the relevant products.
The 40 new buses were distributed at the Lanka Ashok Leyland Company in Panagoda, Homagama yesterday. These buses have been brought to the island under the Indian Credit Line. These buses will be delivered to rural areas to streamline the public transport. Under the Indian Credit Line, 500 new buses will be imported into the island. Out of this amount, 165 buses have already been brought to the island and deployed to running in rural areas. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that we have to bear a huge expense for the transport of school students owing to the fuel price hike these days. These buses will be used to develop public transport in the rural areas. 100 more new buses will be imported after the Sinhala New Year season. About 800 buses in 107 depots in the island are not functioning due to the lack of drivers and conductors. Therefore, we are to get special approval from the Public Service Commission to recruit drivers and conductors under contract basis.
We are joining with the national news broadcast, and we're moving to a few more local news items in brief. The controversy regarding the street food mobile stalls in Mahabihari has been solved. Accordingly, the traders have agreed to remove the trade stalls in the daytime. They will function in the trade stall from 3:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Golf firefighting unit has been able to totally douse the fire erupted at the drug stall of the Balapitiya Base Hospital last evening. The hospital authorities say that the fire has caused damages to the drug stall and the losses are not yet estimated.
We'll be back with international news after this break.
Mage love story ekata fun rasa add karagena hot and spicy kella velama. Happy Valentine's Day. Prima kottumi share the hot and spicy love every day. Prima kottumi fun tamai.
இந்தாங்க தம்பி, பிள்ளை எதிர்காலத்தை பத்தியே சிந்தித்தெடுத்த பரிசு.
தம்பி ஆபீஸ்ல உள்ளவங்களும் குழந்தையின் எதிர்காலத்தை சிந்தித்தே பரிசுகள் கொண்டாந்தாங்க.
இந்த காலத்து பிள்ளைகளும் எங்களை போல எதிர்காலத்தை பத்தி யோசிக்கிறாங்க.
குழந்தைக்கு வழங்கக்கூடிய புத்தி சாதுரியமான பரிசு மக்கள் வங்கியின் இசுரூதான பரிசு சான்றிதழ்.
Welcome back. On foreign news, Vladimir Putin has sharpened his anger towards the West as President Joe Biden's fresh from a visit to Ukraine.
In a week heavy with events ahead of tomorrow's anniversary of Russia's Ukraine invasion, Russian President Putin said that the West had enabled Nazi Germany. Russian President claimed that Ukraine has turned into a neo-Nazi regime that was anti-Russia. Hours later, American President Joe Biden said that NATO was more united than ever, welcoming him to Warsaw Royal Castle. Polish President Andrzej Duda said that by traveling to Kyiv, Mr. Biden had shown the free world did not fear anything. NATO's role was not to defend and support the free world, and Ukraine must win this war. Russia's president did announce he was suspending the New START nuclear arms control treaty signed with the US in 2010. The deal caps nuclear warhead numbers, and NATO and the UK leads have urged him to reconsider. Putin also declared that he had put new ground-based systems to combat duty.
Now, death toll from the powerful earthquakes that hit Turkey and Syria has reached 47,000. Meanwhile, the death toll from the second earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4, which struck near the city of Antakya near the border with Syria on Monday, has risen to 8. Up to 300 recovering from injuries and up to a dozen buildings toppling on both sides of the border. The widespread anxiety and panic sparked by the latest tremors has rattled the region that is still coming to terms with the devastation caused earlier this month. The seismic activity was felt in Egypt, Israel, Jordan and Lebanon, where schools and public services were closed yesterday. Millions of people who fled ruined cities across southern Turkey and northern Syria, which were both shaken violently by the two tremors.
The world's largest coffee chain, Starbucks, is launching a new line of olive-infused drinks in Italy. Starbucks currently has around 20 stores in Italy. New lineup of Starbucks menu called Oleato will be launched. Features an ice shaken espresso and a latte with olive steamed with oat milk. There will also be a cold brew coffee in which a silky infusion of Pratana extract of virgin oil with vanilla sweet cream foam slowly cascades through the beverage. Olive oil is a key part of the Mediterranean diet and associated with the countries including Italy, Greece and Spain. The company says olive oil health benefits can partly be attributed to its monounsaturated fatty acids, which contain vitamins and minerals and polyphenols that are micronutrients delivered from plants. The Starbucks plant is bringing the selection of hot and ice of olive-infused drinks to stores in Southern California in the United States. This spring, the United Kingdom, the Middle East and Japan are set to follow later this year.
Happy Valentine's Day! Prima Kottumisha, the hot and spicy love every day.
Now, on a sports update, trophy of the 2023 Rugby World Cup tournament was displayed at the Nitavella grounds in Kandy this morning. The trophy will be taken away from the island tomorrow.
The 2023 Rugby World Cup tournament will be held in France from the 8th September to the 28th of October. The Rugby World Cup trophy was brought to the island on the 18th of this month and was displayed in several areas in Colombo for the public. A large crowd of people waved the trophy in Kandy this morning. Leading rugby player in South Africa, Brian Habana, is also among the delegation that had accompanied the trophy to Sri Lanka.
Now, the big match fever is on, and the battle of the Maroons, the big match between the Ananda College and Nalanda Colleges in Colombo, will be played at the SSC grounds in Colombo on the 4th and 5th of March. Dialog Axiata is the main sponsor of this cricket match.
A media briefing was held recently in this connection. The Battle of the Maroons has been conducted for the 93rd occasion this year. Ananda College has won 12 matches so far, while Nalanda College has won 7 matches. 73 matches have ended in a draw. Nedma Samarveer leads the Ananda College cricket team and Vanul Athukoral leads the Nalanda College cricket team.
Happy Valentine's Day! Prima Kottumisha, the hot and spicy love every day.
And that's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at 8:50 p.m. for the very latest on Channel I. I'm Nilanjali, together with Charita, signing off. Good night.
Have a pleasant